First turning point, 1941. In 1941, Iran had a powerful leader. This was Reza Shah. At this time, the Second World War began, and Hitler wanted to invade the Soviet Union. But other countries opposed this idea, so Britain and the Soviet Union decided to invade Iran in an attempt to develop a railway into the USSR in order to transport supplies and men. Reza Shah, of course, opposed this idea. He didn't like this idea. So Britain and the Soviet Union decided to overthrow the Shah and exiled him to South Africa. Now they couldn't leave Iran without a leader, so they appointed his son, Mohammad Reza, as the new Shah. Turning point number 2. At this point, Mohammad Reza Shah had been ruling over a decade. But then there's the Prime Minister, Mohammad Mosaddegh. He tried nationalizing the foreign oil companies, got rid of corrupt military officials, was toppled and co-opted by the American CIA. In 1953, the British and Americans wanted Mossadegh out. The Shah finally dismissed Mossadegh, but Mossadegh refused. He arrested one of Shah's men, and in fear, the Shah flees to Italy. The American CIA organizes Operation Ajax, a co-op to overthrow Mossadegh. Mohammad Reza Shah comes back to power.
In 1963, Mohammad Reza proposes the White Revolution. With this, he would give the peasants more land, improve healthcare, and to push women's rights. This was published as a bill and the people were allowed to vote. Khomeini, a religious leader, published an article to exploit the Shah and his plans. The Shah was using the government's earnings as his own. Mohammad Reza Shah arrests Khomeini and sends him to exile. Many riots occur in Iran. This was later named Movement of 15 Khordad. A law is passed and many people were killed in 1971. In order to celebrate 2,500 years of Iranian monarchy, the Shah held a party. Chefs were brought in from France and the guests ate and drank. While this party cost approximately $100 million, the average yearly income was only $350. While he was in exile in Iraq, Khomeini preached peaceful protests through smuggling recordings into Iran. Mohammad Reza Shah absolutely hated this and used the army to demolish the crowd. In other words, he ordered the army to kill hundreds of protesters. One particular event happened on September 8, 1978. This was Black Friday. The Shah had commanded the military to use its tanks and helicopters to break up the demonstrators. In other words, he killed more people. The people of Iran were so upset with the Shah's actions that they went on massive strikes. This efficiently shut down the oil industry within Iran, and without this oil industry, Iran's economy would take a turn for the worst.
On the 4th of November in 1979, Iranian students stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. They took 66 hostages, which left President Jimmy Carter in a huge crisis. This happened because the USA allowed the Shah to go in for cancer treatment. However, the people of Iran didn't like this because they wanted to end all of America's influence on their country. Khomeini led the students to free the hostages on January 21, 1981. This was 444 days after the crisis began and just hours after President Ronald Reagan was elected president. The Iran-Iraq War took place between 1980 and 1988. It began with Saddam Hussein, a Sunni Muslim. The Iranian Revolution was a Shia revolution, and Shia is the other type of Muslim. Now, Saddam Hussein feared that a similar revolution would happen in Iraq, which would cause him to lose his power. And this time, he also needed resources, so the war began with his initial invasion of Iran.